Whoa, hold on tight, because what you're about to hear just shattered the internet in real time. Joe Rogan, the guy who's sat across from Alex Jones, Kanye, and every conspiracy theorist alive, was literally frozen mid-sentence, eyes wide, mouth half open, staring like he'd just seen a ghost. The timestamp on the clip is still climbing past 20 million views in under 4 hours, and the comments are pure chaos. Because on yesterday's emergency episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Charlie Kirk's own sister, Rebecca Kirk, walked into the studio unannounced, slammed a thick manila folder on the table, and said the 6 words nobody expected: "You have no idea what really happened." The room went dead silent. Rogan's producer later admitted the audio levels spiked from the collective gasp. Rebecca, voice shaking but steady, looked straight into the camera and added, "Charlie's been lying to all of you for 15 years, and Joe, you were part of it without even knowing." Charlie Kirk himself was watching live from a Turning Point event in Texas. Phones started blowing up on stage. His face went ghost white on the Jumbotron. Within minutes, his team was frantically trying to kill the stream, but the clip was already everywhere. Fans are losing their minds. Left-wing accounts are celebrating like it's Christmas. MAGA diehards are calling it deep state sabotage. But the ones who actually matter, the millions who've followed Charlie since he was a skinny college kid in a red hat, are staring at their screens in stunned silence, typing the same question over and over. What the hell did she mean? Rebecca didn't stop there. She leaned in, looked Rogan dead in the eyes, and whispered the line that's now a viral sound on TikTok. "That night in Austin, you remember the one? He told you it was nothing." "It wasn't nothing, Joe. And I have proof." Rogan's only response, captured in crystal clear 4K. "Holy shit, the family is officially at war." The conservative movement is fracturing in real time. And the biggest podcast in the world just became ground zero for the most explosive sibling betrayal in modern politics. This is not clickbait. This is not a drill. What Rebecca Kirk just dropped is so devastating, so personal, and so completely unexpected that even Joe Rogan, the man who never gets shocked, looked like he needed a minute to catch his breath. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is only the beginning. The studio lights felt hotter than usual that day in Austin. Joe Rogan sat there in his signature black hoodie, headphones half on, still chuckling from the previous guest's wild story about DMT and Bigfoot. The conversation had been rolling smooth, the kind of episode where Joe leans back, sips his coffee, and lets the guest unload. Then the door opened, not the normal slow creak of a producer slipping in with fresh water. This was a slam, hard, deliberate. Rebecca Kirk stormed in wearing a simple gray hoodie and jeans, hair pulled back tight like she hadn't slept in days. Her eyes were red-rimmed but burning. She carried that thick manila folder under one arm like it weighed 100 pounds. Joe's producer, Jamie, froze at the board. The camera guy instinctively zoomed in without being told. Millions were watching live. "Joe," she said, voice low but cutting through the mic like a knife. "We need to talk, right now." Rogan blinked twice, caught completely off guard. He pulled the headphones down around his neck. "Rebecca? Charlie's sister? What the hell are you doing here?" She didn't answer with words at first. She just dropped the folder on the table with a thud that echoed through the speakers. Papers shifted inside. Something metallic clinked. Joe glanced down, then back up at her. The room was so quiet you could hear the air conditioning hum. "Open it," she said. Joe hesitated. He's interviewed murderers, cartel guys, presidents. He doesn't flinch easy, but something in her face made him pause. He reached over, flipped the top open. Inside were photos, printed emails, bank statements, a couple of old hotel keycards, and what looked like a handwritten letter on yellow legal paper. Rebecca leaned forward, hands flat on the table. "That night in Austin, 2019, after your first big Turning Point event together. You remember?" Joe's brow furrowed. "Yeah, we went out after. Grabbed steaks. Talked shop. Charlie was hammered. We all were." "What about it? You left early," she said. "You said you had to get back for the next day's prep." "Charlie stayed. He told you he was just gonna crash at the hotel bar and call it a night." "That's what he told everyone. That's what he's been telling everyone for 6 years." Joe shifted in his seat. "Okay, and?" Rebecca's voice cracked for the first time. "He didn't go back to the hotel alone. And it wasn't just drinks." She reached into the folder and pulled out a single photo. She slid it across the table face down. Joe picked it up slowly. When he turned it over, his whole body language changed. Shoulders tensed, jaw locked. He stared at it for a long 5 seconds before setting it back down. "What the fuck is this?" he whispered. The photo showed Charlie Kirk, clearly intoxicated, arm around a woman who was definitely not his then-girlfriend. They were in what looked like a private VIP booth at some upscale Austin club. Her hand was on his thigh. His lips were close to her ear. Timestamp in the corner, 3:17 a.m. "That's not the worst part," Rebecca said. "Keep going." Joe flipped to the next item. Another photo. Same night, different angle. Now Charlie and the woman were leaving the club together. Her arm looped through his. They were heading toward the elevator bank. Rogan rubbed his face with both hands. "Jesus, who is she?" Her name was Lauren. Lauren Patterson. She was 23, worked as an event coordinator for Turning Point that year. Charlie hired her personally. Said she was talented. Joe looked up. You're saying he cheated? I'm saying he destroyed someone's life that night, Joe. And then he covered it up. With help. The words hung there like smoke. Joe's eyes narrowed. Help from who? Rebecca didn't blink. From people who work for him. From people who work with you. And maybe, from you. Rogan recoiled like he'd been slapped. Hold up. What the hell are you accusing me of? I'm not accusing you yet, she said. But you were there. You saw him leave with her. You texted him the next morning asking if he got home okay. He said yeah, just crashed hard. You never asked again. Why? Because I was hungover and had a 3-hour podcast to record, Joe shot back, voice rising for the first time. I wasn't his babysitter, no, Rebecca said quietly. You were his friend, his biggest platform, the guy who made him mainstream. And when things got messy, you looked the other way. Just like everyone else did. She pulled out the handwritten letter. Unfolded it carefully. This is from Lauren, written 3 months later. She sent it to Charlie. He never responded. I found it in his old office shred bin when I was helping Mom clean out storage last year. He thought he burned it. He didn't. Joe leaned in as she started reading aloud. Charlie, I don't know how to say this without sounding crazy. But I'm pregnant. It happened that night in Austin. I didn't plan it. I didn't trap you. I just need you to know. Please call me. The studio felt 10 degrees colder. Joe stared at the paper like it might bite him. She was pregnant? He asked, almost to himself. Rebecca nodded. She was. Charlie panicked. Called his inner circle. They moved fast. Paid her off. Made her sign an NDA. Told her if she ever spoke publicly her life would be over. She was scared. She was alone. She took the money and left Texas. Last I heard she moved to Oregon. Changed her name. But she never got an abortion. She had the baby. A little girl. Named her Grace. Joe exhaled hard through his nose. And Charlie knows? He knows, Rebecca said. He's known for 6 years. He's sent anonymous payments through a shell account every month. I have the transaction records. I have screenshots of the emails between his lawyer and hers. I have everything. She tapped the folder. This isn't revenge, Joe. This is truth. My brother built his entire brand on family values, Christian principles, protecting the innocent. And he has a daughter he's never met. A daughter he paid to disappear. And he let everyone believe he's some moral crusader while he hid this. Rogan sat back, hands behind his head. Why now? Why come here? Why me? Because you're the only person he actually respects, she said. He worships you. If anyone can make him face this, it's you. And because the fans deserve to know who they're really following. I tried talking to him privately. 3 times. He threatened to cut me out of the family. Said I was jealous. Said I was mentally unstable. Mom's on his side. Dad won't pick up my calls. I'm alone in this. So I came here. To the one place he can't control the narrative. Joe looked directly into the camera for the first time since she walked in. Millions were still watching. Chat was exploding. Donations pouring in. People typing in all caps. Some crying emojis. Some fire emojis. Some calling her a liar. Some calling for Charlie's head. Rebecca, Joe said slowly. If this is real, if even half of this is real, this changes everything. It is real, she said. And there's more. She reached into the folder again. Pulled out one last item. A small USB drive. Black. No label. This has the audio, she said. From that night. Security footage audio from the club. Charlie didn't know they kept backups. I paid a guy $2,000 to get it. You can hear him. You can hear what he said to her when they got in the elevator. Joe stared at the drive like it was radioactive. Play it, he said finally. Jamie, who had been silent the whole time, looked at Joe. Joe nodded. Jamie plugged it in. The speakers crackled. Then a grainy, muffled voice filled the studio. Charlie's voice. Slurred but unmistakable. Don't worry, babe. Nobody's gonna know. We'll handle it. Just you and me. Our little secret. Then Lauren's voice. Soft. Nervous. You promise? I promise, Charlie said. Cross my heart. The audio cut. The studio went silent again. Joe rubbed his temples. Fuck. Rebecca looked at him, tears finally spilling over. That's my brother, Joe. That's who he really is. And I can't carry this alone anymore. Rogan stared at the folder. At the photos. At the letter. At the woman who just blew up her own family on live television. Then he looked back at her. We're not done here, he said. Not even close. And that's when the real storm began. Rebecca's words hung in the air like smoke after a gunshot. Joe Rogan didn't move for almost 10 seconds. His eyes flicked between the USB drive, the scattered photos, and the woman sitting across from him who had just turned her own brother into ground zero of a national scandal. The chat was moving so fast it looked like static. People were typing prayers, curses, demands for proof, accusations that Rebecca was paid by Soros, others saying she was finally the hero the right needed. Joe finally exhaled, long and slow. Jamie, he said without looking away from her. Keep rolling. No cuts. Whatever happens next, we're live. Jamie nodded, fingers trembling slightly on the controls. The red light stayed on. Joe turned back to Rebecca. Okay, let's slow this down. You're telling me Charlie has a secret kid. You're telling me he paid her off. You're telling me his team covered it. And now you're saying I was somehow in on the cover-up because I didn't play detective after a drunken night out 6 years ago? Rebecca shook her head. Not in on it, complicit by silence. You gave him the biggest stage in the world. Every time he came on here, every time you called him sharp, principled, a future leader, you were laundering his reputation. And he knew it. He used it. Joe's jaw tightened. That's a hell of an accusation. It's not an accusation, she said. It's math. You have more listeners than most cable news networks. When you platform someone, they become untouchable. Charlie became untouchable, and he used that shield to hide the ugliest parts of himself. She pulled out another stack of papers. Printed emails. Dates going back to late 2019. Look at this chain, she said, sliding it over. Charlie's personal assistant at the time. CC'd his lawyer and one of Turning Point's biggest donors. Subject line. Situation in Austin, handled. The email says, and I quote, subject has been compensated. NDA executed. Media exposure risk assessed at low due to JRE proximity and positive framing. Recommend continued alignment. Joe scanned it. His face darkened with every line. JRE proximity, he muttered. They literally wrote my show down as part of the cleanup. Rebecca nodded. They did. You were the alibi without even knowing it. Charlie would come on here weeks later, laugh about how wild Austin was, how he barely remembered the night, how it was all just good times. Fans ate it up. They still do. And every time he did that, the story got buried deeper. Joe leaned forward, elbows on the table. So what do you want from me? You want me to denounce him right now? On air? Call him a fraud? I want you to ask the questions nobody else will, she said. Because if I go to CNN or MSNBC, they'll turn it into a cheap hit piece and nobody on our side will listen. If I go to Fox, they'll kill it before it airs. But you don't have a leash. You've built your whole thing on not having one. So use it. Joe rubbed his beard, thinking hard. And the kid? Grace? How old is she now? 5, Rebecca said softly. She just turned 5 in November. Lauren posts private photos sometimes on an old Facebook under a different name. I've seen them. She looks like Charlie. Same eyes. Same little smirk when she smiles. She's beautiful. And she has no idea who her father is. Lauren told her he's somebody who couldn't be there. That's the story she's growing up with. The studio felt smaller somehow. Joe glanced at the camera again. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Rebecca whispered. Jesus Christ. Joe stood up suddenly, paced a few steps, hands on his hips. Okay, let's talk logistics. You got any proof this money's still coming? Recent proof? Rebecca opened her phone, tapped the screen a few times, then turned it toward him. Bank transfer screenshots. Monthly deposits. $5,000. Consistent since 2020. Routed through a Delaware LLC called Horizon Consulting. No public ties to Turning Point on paper, but one of the signatories was a former TPUSA board member. That's not pocket change, Joe said. That's serious cash flow. It is, she agreed. And he's never missed a payment. Even during COVID when Turning Point was bleeding money. He prioritized it. I think part of him feels guilty. The other part just wants it to stay gone. Joe sat back down. What happens if this blows up? Really blows up? Rebecca's eyes filled again. Mom will never forgive me. She already thinks I'm the problem child because I didn't fall in line. Dad's had 2 heart attacks. This could kill him. Charlie, he'll destroy me. He's already started. He texted me this morning after the first clip leaked. Said, you just ended yourself. Enjoy being a nobody forever. My phone's been off since I walked in here because I knew he'd try to spin it. Joe looked at her for a long moment. You're willing to burn it all down? I already did, she said. The second I walked through that door, the chat was apocalyptic now. #CharlieGate trending worldwide. People digging up old clips of Charlie preaching about fatherhood, responsibility, protecting children. The irony was hitting like a freight train. Turning Point staffers were being tagged nonstop. Some were going private, others were posting vague, praying for clarity messages. Joe took a deep breath. All right, we're gonna keep going. But first, I need to call Charlie. Live, right now, no prep, no script. If he picks up, we talk. If he doesn't, that's its own answer. Rebecca's eyes widened. You're serious? Dead serious, Joe said. He looked at Jamie. Get him on the line. Use the emergency contact. The one he gave us for when shit hits the fan. Jamie hesitated. Joe, if we do this, do it, Joe cut in. The phone rang on speaker. Once, twice, 3 times. Voicemail. Joe hung up. Dialed again. Same thing. 3rd time, it went straight to voicemail. Blocked. Joe stared at the phone. He blocked me. In the middle of an active episode, Rebecca let out a small, bitter laugh. That's Charlie. Control the narrative or kill the messenger. Joe set the phone down. Okay, plan B. Rebecca, you willing to stay for another hour? We're gonna go through every piece of evidence you brought. Line by line. Photos, emails, audio, all of it. Then we open calls. Real callers. No screeners. Let the audience decide what they think. She nodded slowly. I'm not leaving until this is out. Joe looked into the camera. You hear that, Charlie? If you're watching, and I know you are, your sister's here. She brought receipts. And we're not stopping. So either call in, or keep hiding. Your choice. He turned back to Rebecca. Start from the beginning. The night in Austin. Everything you know. Don't leave anything out. Rebecca took a shaky breath, opened the folder again, and began. It started at the afterparty. Turning Point had just packed the house. Charlie was on fire. Everyone wanted a piece of him. Lauren was running logistics. She was young, ambitious, thought she was networking. Charlie noticed her, complimented her work, asked her to join the VIP group for drinks. As she spoke, Joe listened. Really listened. No interruptions, no jokes, just quiet intensity. The story unfolded in painful detail. The shots, the flirting, the decision to leave together. The elevator ride where promises were made. The hotel room, the morning after when Lauren woke up alone with a note that said, "Talk soon," and nothing else. Then the calls, the panic, the lawyer, the money, the threats wrapped in polite language. The way Charlie went back to his life like nothing happened. The way he doubled down on family values content months later. The way he never mentioned Austin again unless it was to laugh it off. Rebecca's voice never rose above a steady, heartbroken calm. But every word landed like a hammer. Joe finally spoke after almost 20 minutes of her talking uninterrupted. "This isn't just cheating," he said quietly. "This is abandonment. This is using power to erase a kid. This is the exact shit you've spent your career railing against, Charlie. If you're out there, explain it. Because right now, it looks indefensible." The studio clock ticked. Outside, the Austin night was calm. Inside, everything was burning. And they were only getting started. The phone stayed silent, no callback, no frantic text from Charlie's team. Just the hum of the studio AC and the endless scroll of the live chat turning into a battlefield. Joe Rogan glanced at Rebecca, who was staring at her own hands like they belonged to someone else. She looked smaller now, the adrenaline crash hitting hard. "He's not coming," she said quietly. Joe nodded once. "Then we keep going. No mercy, no filter. You ready?" She swallowed. "Yeah." Joe cracked his knuckles, leaned into the mic. "All right, folks, if you just joined us, Charlie Kirk's sister Rebecca is here. She brought evidence. We've seen photos, emails, bank records, a letter from a woman claiming Charlie got her pregnant in 2019 after a night out in Austin. We heard audio where he promises to keep it secret. And right now, Charlie Kirk has blocked my number. Hasn't said a word publicly. So we're opening the lines. First caller, go." The first voice came through shaky but furious. Male, Midwest accent. "Joe, this is Travis from Ohio. I've been a Turning Point donor since 2018. I gave them money I didn't have because Charlie said he was fighting for my kid's future. If this is true, he's a hypocrite. Worse than a hypocrite, he's a deadbeat. Tell Rebecca thank you for having the guts. I'm done." Rebecca's lip trembled. "Thank you, Travis. That means more than you know." Next caller. Woman, younger, California area code. "Hi Joe." "Hi Rebecca. I'm Lauren's cousin. I shouldn't be calling but I can't stay quiet anymore. Everything Rebecca said is true. Lauren's my family. She was broken after that night. She cried for months. She didn't want the money at first. She wanted Charlie to at least acknowledge Grace. He wouldn't even look at a picture. His lawyer sent a letter saying any contact would void the settlement. Lauren's raising Grace alone. She works 2 jobs. Grace asks about her dad sometimes. Lauren just says he's far away. She's 5 now. She deserves better." The studio went still. Joe's eyes closed for a second. "Jesus," he muttered. Then louder. "Ma'am, thank you for calling. Is Lauren okay with you being here?" "She doesn't know I called," the woman said. "But she's tired of hiding. If this blows up, maybe it's time." The line clicked off. Joe looked at Rebecca. "You knew she had family listening?" "I hoped," Rebecca whispered. Lauren cut contact with most people. But word spreads in small circles. The calls kept coming. Some supportive, some vicious. One guy screamed that Rebecca was a disgruntled lib plant, and hung up. Another said Charlie should step down from Turning Point immediately. A pastor from Georgia called in tears. "I've preached Charlie's speeches in my sermons," he said. "I told young men to look up to him. If he abandoned a child, Lord forgive me for platforming that." "Rebecca, God bless you for speaking truth. Even if it costs you everything." Rebecca wiped her eyes. "It already has." Joe fielded them for almost 40 minutes straight. The energy in the room shifted from shock to something heavier. Exhaustion, anger, heartbreak. The chat was split down the middle. Half demanding Charlie respond, half insisting it was all fake, AI-generated, deepfake audio, paid actress. But the evidence kept piling up on the table. More screenshots, more transfers. Rebecca even pulled up a Google Drive link live on screen, blurred sensitive info but clear enough. Timestamps, amounts, names redacted but patterns undeniable. Then the shift happened. Jamie whispered something to Joe. Joe's face changed. "Hold on," he said to the audience. "We just got a text from someone claiming to be Charlie's current chief of staff. They want to come on. Right now. Remote. Video." Rebecca stiffened. "Don't trust it." Joe looked at her. "We won't, but we'll hear them out." "Jamie, patch them in." The screen split. A man appeared, late 30s, suit, earpiece, nervous sweat on his forehead. Background looked like a hotel room. "Joe, Rebecca," he started. My name's Ethan. I work directly for Charlie. He's asked me to speak on his behalf because he can't right now. He's with family. He's devastated. Joe crossed his arms. Devastated. Okay, go on. Ethan swallowed. First, Charlie acknowledges that a relationship happened in Austin. It was consensual. It was a mistake. He was young, under pressure, drinking. He regrets it deeply. But the child, that's not accurate. There was no pregnancy. Lauren tried to extort him. The payments were to make the harassment stop. We have documentation, Rebecca laughed. Bitter. Sharp. You have documentation? Pull it up. Show it. Right now. Ethan hesitated. I can't share privileged legal files on a live stream. Of course you can't, Rebecca snapped. Because it doesn't exist. Or if it does, it's the NDA you forced her to sign under duress. Joe, ask him about the monthly payments. $5,000. Every month. For 6 years. If it was extortion, why keep paying after she disappeared? Why route it through a shell company? Why never sue her for defamation if she was lying? Ethan opened his mouth. Closed it. Joe leaned in. Ethan, look at me. You're live on the biggest podcast in the world. Millions watching. Be straight. Is there a little girl named Grace? Ethan looked down. I'm not authorized to discuss specifics, yes or no, Joe pressed. Ethan's voice cracked. There may have been a pregnancy. But Charlie was told it was terminated. That was the understanding. The payments were goodwill. To help her start over. Rebecca exploded. Goodwill? You call abandoning your daughter goodwill? He was told it was terminated because that's what his people wanted to hear. Lauren never agreed to that. She kept the baby. And Charlie knew. I have emails from 2021 where his lawyer references the child's ongoing needs. He knew. Ethan rubbed his face. Rebecca, this is tearing the movement apart. Charlie's getting death threats already. Donors are pulling out. Events are canceling. If you keep going, good, Rebecca said. Let it tear. If it's built on lies, let it burn. Joe cut in. Ethan, last question. Is Charlie willing to take a DNA test? Public, independent lab. If Grace is his, he meets her. If not, this ends today. Ethan stared at the camera. I'll relay that to him. Relay fast, Joe said. Because we're not done. Rebecca's staying. We're going through the rest of the folder. And callers are still lined up. Thanks for calling, Ethan. Or whatever your real name is. The screen went black. Ethan gone. Joe turned to Rebecca. You okay? No, she said. But I'm not stopping. Joe nodded. Neither am I. The next hour blurred into a marathon. More evidence. More calls. A former Turning Point staffer called in anonymously, voice changed, confirming the Austin night was legendary inside the org. Said Charlie bragged about it the next week. Said the team knew about the girl from events but were told to never mention her again. Then the bombshell drop Rebecca had held back. She pulled out one last photo. Grainy, taken from across a street. Charlie, 2 years ago, sitting in a parked car outside elementary school in Portland. Watching the playground, Lauren and Grace visible in the distance. He's not approaching, just watching, for almost 20 minutes. Then he drives away. He does this sometimes, Rebecca said. I hired a pie last year. I needed to know if he cared at all. Turns out he does, just not enough to do anything about it. Joe stared at the photo. He's been stalking his own kid from a distance. Call it what you want, Rebecca said. He can't let go, but he won't step up. The room felt heavier than ever. Joe looked into the camera. Charlie, if you're still watching, your sister just showed me proof you've been sitting outside your daughter's school. Watching like some ghost. Man up, call in, or drive to Portland, meet Grace, because right now, you look like a coward hiding behind PR people and blocked numbers. He paused. We're taking a quick break. But when we come back, more calls. More evidence. And maybe, just maybe, Charlie Kirk will finally find his voice. The stream cut to a black screen with one line of text. Truth doesn't wait for permission. And the internet kept burning. The break ended with a low hum as the stream came back live. Joe Rogan adjusted his mic, eyes bloodshot from the marathon but still sharp. Rebecca sat straighter now, like the weight of the folder had shifted from her shoulders to the table itself. The viewer count had spiked past 3 million, unheard of for a non-scheduled drop-in. Donations were disabled because the platform flagged it as potential misinformation, but super chats from earlier kept rolling in anyway. People were paying just to be heard. We're back, Joe said, voice gravelly. No edits, no spin. Rebecca Kirk is still here. We've seen the evidence. We've heard from callers. We've heard from Charlie's supposed chief of staff, who basically admitted there was a pregnancy but tried to spin it as goodwill payments. Charlie himself? Still radio silent. Blocked my number. Hasn't tweeted. Hasn't posted on Instagram. Nothing. So let's keep digging. Rebecca opened the last section of the folder. Thicker stack. More recent. She spread out printed text messages. Blurred sender names but timestamps clear. These are from Charlie's old number, she said. The one he used before he switched to the encrypted one. I got them from a mutual contact who worked security at Turning Point. They saved everything when things got weird in 2022. Joe leaned in. Read them, she did. Voice steady but laced with disgust. First message, from Charlie to an unknown contact, dated March 2022. Check on the Oregon situation. Make sure the account is still funded. No direct contact. Ever. Reply. Confirmed. 5K sent yesterday. Pi report attached. She's in kindergarten now. Looks healthy. Charlie's response. Good. Keep the reports coming quarterly. Don't tell me details unless something changes. I don't want to know her name again. Rebecca stopped. Looked up at Joe. He knew her name. He just didn't want to hear it. Joe's face was stone. He's treating his own kid like a monthly bill. Exactly, Rebecca said. And there's more. She flipped to another chain. This one between Charlie and his mother, their mom. Charlie. Mom, Rebecca's asking questions again. Shut her down. Tell her it's none of her business. Mom, she's your sister. She loves you. Why won't you just talk to her, Charlie? Because she'll ruin everything. You know what's at stake. The movement, the donors. If this gets out, it's over. Handle her. Mom, I'm trying. But she's stubborn like you, Charlie. Then stop trying and start threatening. Cut her off if you have to. Rebecca's hands shook as she read the last line. That was 2 weeks before I found the shred bin. Mom never cut me off. But she stopped talking to me. Dad follows Charlie's lead. The whole family's been conditioned to protect the brand. Joe exhaled hard. Your own mom, siding with the cover-up. She thinks she's protecting the family, Rebecca said. But she's protecting his image. There's a difference. The chat erupted again. Hashtag family shame trending alongside hashtag CharlieGate. People posting old family photos of the Kirks, Christmas cards, campaign rallies, Charlie hugging his mom on stage while preaching about traditional values. The contrast was brutal. Joe opened the lines again. More callers. Let's hear it. A woman's voice. Older. Texas drawl. Rebecca, this is Aunt Linda. Your dad's sister. I've been watching since you walked in. Honey, I'm so sorry. I knew something happened back then. Charlie came home after Austin looking like death. Wouldn't talk. Your mom said it was just stress. But I saw the guilt in his eyes. I should have pushed. I didn't. Forgive me. Rebecca broke then. Tears silent but steady. Aunt Linda, thank you. I didn't know you were watching. Whole family's watching now, Linda said. Your dad's in the other room crying. He won't come on, but he's listening. Tell Charlie, we love him. But he's gotta make this right. For that little girl. For all of us. The line went quiet. Rebecca wiped her face with her sleeve. I will. If he ever speaks to me again. Next caller. Young guy. Sounded college age. Yo Joe, Rebecca, I'm a TPUSA chapter leader in Florida. Or, I was. Just resigned 5 minutes ago. Emailed the whole board. Said I can't lead kids to follow a man who won't own his own child. If Charlie wants redemption, he needs to step down, do the DNA test, meet Grace, pay real child support, not this hush money crap. Until then, I'm out. And a lot of us are. Joe nodded slowly. Respect, man, takes balls. The calls kept pouring in. Former interns, ex-donors, even a pastor who said he was pulling his church's sponsorship from Turning Point events. The movement was hemorrhaging in real time. Then Joe's phone buzzed, not his main line, the emergency burner he kept for guests. He looked at the screen. Eyes widened. It's him, Joe said. Charlie's calling. From a different number. Rebecca froze. Don't put him on yet. Make him sweat. Joe shook his head. Nah, we've been waiting. Let's see what he's got. He hit accept. Put it on speaker. Charlie? Joe said. A long pause. Then Charlie's voice. Hoarse, like he'd been yelling or crying or both. Joe, Rebecca, I'm here. The studio went dead quiet except for the faint sound of Charlie breathing. Joe didn't waste time. You've been watching? Yeah, Charlie said. The whole thing, and? Another pause. I don't know where to start. Start with Grace, Rebecca said, voice like steel. Your daughter, does she exist? Silence stretched so long Joe almost spoke again. Then Charlie whispered, yes. Rebecca closed her eyes. Joe's shoulders dropped. She's mine, Charlie continued. I knew. I've always known. I couldn't face it. The timing. The optics. I was building something bigger than me. I thought if I handled it quietly, it would go away. I was wrong. Joe leaned forward. You thought paying $5,000 a month would make a human being go away? No, Charlie said. I thought it would give her a better life. Without me dragging her into this circus, Rebecca laughed bitterly. You watched her from your car. You stalked her playground. Don't pretend this was selfless. Charlie's voice cracked. I wanted to see her. Just once. I couldn't stay away. But I knew if I got close, it would destroy her world. And mine. Your world's destroyed anyway, Joe said. You see what's happening out there? Donors fleeing. Chapters collapsing. Your sister just sacrificed everything to force your hand. So what now, Charlie? What's your move? Charlie took a ragged breath. I'm flying to Portland tomorrow. I want to meet her. I want to talk to Lauren. No lawyers. No cameras. Just me. If she'll let me. If Grace wants to know me someday, I'll be there. No more hiding. Rebecca stared at the phone. You expect us to believe you? I don't, Charlie said. I know I've lost the right to ask for trust. But I'm doing it anyway. Rebecca, I'm sorry. For everything. For threatening you. For letting Mom take your side. For being the coward you called me. You were right. About all of it. Tears slipped down Rebecca's face again. But this time they weren't just pain. Prove it, she said. Go to Portland. Meet your daughter. Then come back here. On Joe's show. And tell the truth. All of it. No spin. A long beat. I will, Charlie said. Give me 48 hours. Then I'll call back. And Joe, thank you. For not cutting away. For letting this happen. Joe rubbed his eyes. Don't thank me yet. You've got a long road. The call ended. The studio exhaled collectively. Joe looked at Rebecca. You believe him? I want to, she said. But I've heard promises before. Joe turned to the camera. You heard it here first. Charlie Kirk just admitted it on air. He's got a daughter. He's going to meet her. And in 2 days, he says he'll come back. We'll see if he keeps his word. He paused. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. Rebecca's staying. We're taking more calls. And whatever happens next, you'll hear it live. The stream continued rolling. The internet kept exploding. And somewhere in Texas, Charlie Kirk was packing a bag for Portland, whether for redemption or damage control, only time would tell. But the family war had just entered its next brutal chapter. The stream had been running for nearly 5 hours straight now. No commercial breaks. No producer cutting in to say, we're going long, just raw, unfiltered fallout. Joe Rogan looked like he hadn't slept in a week even though it was still the same night. Rebecca Kirk sat with her arms crossed tight across her chest, staring at the black phone screen like it might ring again any second. The viewer count hovered at 4.2 million. People weren't leaving. They were glued. 48 hours, Joe said, repeating Charlie's words like he was testing their weight. That's what he asked for. 2 days to fly to Portland, meet Grace, talk to Lauren. Then come back here, on this show, and tell the truth. No lawyers, no PR, just him. Rebecca didn't respond right away. She just nodded once, slow. Joe rubbed his face. I don't know about you, but I'm not holding my breath. We've seen what happens when the heat gets real. People vanish. Statements get issued. Narratives get massaged. But Charlie, if you're listening, and I know a lot of your people are still watching, he gave his word. On my show, live, to millions. If you break it, there's no coming back from that. Not in this space, he turned to Rebecca. You holding up? Barely, she admitted. Hearing him say her name out loud, Grace, it hit different. Like it finally became real. Not just some file in a folder. A person, my niece. Joe's voice softened for the first time in hours. Yeah, that part's heavy. The chat was a war zone. Some people posting flight trackers, claiming to have spotted Charlie's private jet leaving a small airstrip outside Dallas. Others sharing screenshots of Turning Point's website, donate button still live, events calendar untouched. A few staffers had already tweeted vague, praying for the family, messages before going dark. The organization was in freefall. Joe opened the lines one more time. Last round before we wrap this monster. Callers, make it count. A man's voice. Deep, southern, calm but furious. Joe, this is Mark. Retired Marine. Donated to Turning Point every year since 2016 because I believed in fighting for the country my kids would inherit. Charlie talked about fatherhood, responsibility, stepping up. I believed him. Now I find out he's got a daughter he's been paying to stay hidden? That's not a mistake. That's character. I'm asking for my money back. And if he shows up in 48 hours, I want him to look every donor in the eye and explain why he thought money could replace a dad. Rebecca spoke before Joe could. Mark, thank you. I know it hurts. I feel it too. But if Charlie does come back, hold him to it. Don't let him slide with tears and apologies. Make him act. Next caller. Teenage girl. Voice cracking. Hi, I'm Emma, 16. I've watched Charlie since middle school. He made me feel like my opinions mattered. Like conservatism wasn't just for old people. Now I'm sitting here crying because the guy I looked up to abandoned a kid. A girl my age almost. How do I trust any of them now? Politicians, influencers, anybody? Joe answered gently. Emma, you don't have to trust blindly. That's the lesson here. Question everything, even the people who sound the best. And if Charlie wants back in, he's gotta earn it. Starting with Grace, Emma sniffled. Tell Rebecca she's brave. I wish I had a sister like her. Rebecca managed a small smile through the tears. Thank you, Emma. That means the world. The call slowed. Exhaustion was setting in everywhere. Joe glanced at the clock. Almost 3 a.m. Austin time. All right, he said. We're gonna wind down. But before we do, Rebecca, anything you want to say directly to Charlie? To Grace? To Lauren? This might be the last time you get the floor without interruption. Rebecca took a long breath. Looked straight into the camera. Charlie, if you're serious about Portland, don't go with a plan. Don't go with talking points. Go with nothing but the truth. Knock on that door. Introduce yourself. Tell Grace who you are. Tell her you're sorry. Tell her you want to be part of her life if she'll let you. No cameras. No staff. Just you. Because if you show up with security or a script, she'll see right through it. And she'll never forgive you. She paused. Voice dropping softer. Lauren, if you're watching, I'm sorry I dragged this into the open without asking you first. I know you wanted peace. I know you protected Grace the best way you knew how. But hiding wasn't protecting anymore. It was eating you alive. If Charlie shows up, you don't owe him anything. Not forgiveness. Not a second chance. Do what's right for you and Grace. That's all that matters. Then to Grace. Even though the little girl wasn't watching. Grace, if you ever see this someday, your Aunt Rebecca loves you. I've never met you, but I've seen your pictures. You're beautiful. You're strong. You didn't ask for any of this. But you deserve the truth. And you deserve people who show up. No matter what. She wiped her eyes. That's all I've got. Joe nodded. Heavy silence. Rebecca, you've been through hell tonight. Thank you for trusting this platform. For trusting me. We'll leave the door open. 48 hours. If Charlie shows, we'll be here. If he doesn't, we'll be here too. He looked at the camera. To everyone watching, this isn't about left or right anymore. It's about right and wrong. It's about a kid who deserves better. It's about a man who built an empire on values he didn't live. And it's about a sister who refused to let the lie stand. He exhaled. We're signing off for now. But this story isn't done. Not even close. Get some sleep if you can. I know I won't. We'll be back when there's something to say. Until then, hug your people. Tell them the truth. And don't look away. The stream faded to black. But the audio lingered for a second longer. Joe's quiet voice, off mic, to Rebecca. You did good, kid. Real good. Rebecca's reply, barely audible. I just want my family back. The screen went dark. Outside the studio, Austin was quiet. But online, the fire kept raging. Clips circulating. Hashtags evolving. Hashtag Meet Grace trending next to hashtag Charlie Lies. Turning Point's socials flooded with demands for statements. Donors posting refund requests publicly. Chapter leaders resigning in waves. Somewhere over the Midwest, if the flight trackers were right, a private jet was heading west. Toward Portland. Toward a little girl who had no idea her life was about to change forever. 48 hours. The clock was ticking. And nobody knew if redemption or ruin would land first. The 48 hours crawled by like a bad dream nobody could wake from. The internet didn't sleep. Twitter, X, whatever it was called that week, stayed on fire. Every hour brought new leaks, new resignations, new conspiracy threads claiming the whole thing was a psyop to take down Turning Point before midterms. But the core stayed the same. Charlie Kirk had gone dark. No Instagram stories, no emergency podcast, no Fox hit, just silence, and every minute of it felt like guilt by omission. Joe Rogan didn't stream again that first day. He posted one tweet at noon the next afternoon, still waiting. Clock's ticking. Truth doesn't do PR. It got 200,000 likes in 10 minutes. Rebecca stayed off socials completely. Friends said she was holed up in a hotel outside Austin, phone on airplane mode, trying to process what she'd unleashed. Lauren Patterson's name started trending too, people digging up old LinkedIn profiles, old event photos from Turning Point galas. Most were respectful, some weren't, the internet being the internet. Then, 46 hours after the call, Joe's burner buzzed again. He was in the studio prepping a normal episode, something light, UFC talk, maybe mushrooms, when the text came through. It's done. I met her. I'm flying back tonight. Can we come on tomorrow? 8 p.m. your time. No prep, just talk. Joe stared at the message for 30 seconds. Then typed back one word. Yes. He called Rebecca immediately. She picked up on the second ring. He's coming, Joe said. Silence on her end, then a small, broken laugh. He actually went, says he met Grace. Met Lauren, wants to talk tomorrow. Rebecca exhaled shakily. Did he say how it went? No details. Just that it's done. Okay, she whispered. Okay. The next evening the studio felt different. Lights dimmer somehow. No warm-up guests. No comedy bits cued. Just 3 chairs. Joe in the middle. Rebecca on his left. An empty seat on his right. The stream went live at 8 sharp. No intro music. Just Joe looking straight into the lens. We're back. No bullshit. Charlie Kirk is here. He asked for this time. He's got the floor. Rebecca's here. I'm here. Let's see what happens. The door opened. Charlie walked in alone. No entourage. No suit. Jeans. Black hoodie. Eyes red like he hadn't slept. He looked smaller than he ever had on stage. He sat down without a word. Stared at the table for a long second. Joe broke the silence. Charlie, you're here. Start wherever you need to. Charlie nodded. Cleared his throat. Voice raw. First, Rebecca, I'm sorry. For everything. For the texts. For letting Mom freeze you out. For making you feel like the enemy when you were the only one brave enough to call me out. You didn't destroy the family. I did. And I'll spend the rest of my life trying to fix what I can. Rebecca didn't respond. Just watched him. Eyes glassy. Charlie turned to the camera. To everyone watching, to the donors, the chapter leaders, the kids who believed in me, I failed you. I built a brand on personal responsibility, on fatherhood, on protecting the vulnerable. Then I ran from my own responsibility. I got scared. The movement was growing so fast. Every mistake felt like it could end everything. So I buried it. I paid money instead of stepping up. I told myself it was protection. It wasn't. It was cowardice. He paused. Swallowed hard. 2 days ago I flew to Portland. No team. No security. Just me in a rental car. I knocked on Lauren's door at 4 in the afternoon. She opened it. Grace was behind her, peeking around her leg. 5 years old. Big eyes. Same color as mine. She asked who I was. Lauren looked at me like I was a ghost. I told Grace my name. Told her I was someone who should have been there a long time ago. She didn't hug me. Didn't smile. Just stared. Lauren let me in. We sat in the living room. Grace played with blocks on the floor. We talked for 3 hours. Joe leaned forward slightly. What did you say? Everything, Charlie said. I told Lauren I was sorry. Told her the payments were never enough. Told her I was ashamed. She cried. A lot. Said she never wanted the money. She wanted me to know Grace. She wanted Grace to have a dad. Not a check. I told her I didn't know how to start now. She said start by showing up. Consistently. No cameras. No announcements. Just show up. He looked at Rebecca. Grace asked if I was her daddy. I said yes. She asked why I wasn't there before. I told her I was stupid. And scared. She said okay. Then she asked if I liked dinosaurs. I said yeah. She showed me her T-Rex toy. We played for 20 minutes. It was the best 20 minutes of my life. And the worst, because I knew what I'd missed. Rebecca finally spoke, voice quiet. Did you tell her you'd come back? I did, Charlie said. I promised. Every other weekend if Lauren allows it. More if she wants. I'm moving some things around. Less travel. More time in Oregon when I can. Lauren's in charge, not me. She sets the rules. Joe nodded slowly. And turning point? Charlie exhaled. I'm stepping back, not quitting, but I'm not going to be the face for a while. We're bringing in new leadership. More voices. Less cult of personality. I need to rebuild trust. Starting with my own family. Starting with Grace. The room went quiet again. Rebecca reached over, placed her hand on his arm. First time she'd touched him since walking into the studio days earlier. You went, she said. That's something. Charlie covered her hand with his. I'm not asking for forgiveness tonight. I know it takes time. But I'm asking for a chance to earn it. From you. From Mom. From Dad. From Grace. From everyone I let down. Joe looked between them. Then at the camera. There it is. No spin. No deflection. Charlie Kirk admitting he fucked up. Big. Promising to fix what he can. We'll see if the actions match the words. But tonight, he showed up. He paused. Rebecca, anything else? She looked at her brother. Just one thing. When you go back to Portland, take pictures. Not for the internet. For her. So she has memories. So she knows you were there. Charlie nodded. Tears finally spilling. I will. Joe turned to the lens one last time. This has been one of the strangest, heaviest weeks I've ever had on this show. Family drama. Betrayal. Redemption. Maybe. We don't know the ending yet. But we know the truth is out. And sometimes, that's the only win that matters, he exhaled. We're done for tonight. Charlie, Rebecca, thank you for being here. For being real. To everyone watching, hold people accountable. Even the ones you admire. Especially them. Good night. The stream faded. No dramatic music. Just quiet. Outside, the Austin stars were out. Inside the studio, 3 people sat in silence for a long minute. Not enemies anymore. Not quite family yet either. But something closer to starting over. And somewhere in Portland, a little girl with her father's eyes was probably asleep with a T-Rex toy next to her pillow. Wondering if the man who visited would come back. The answer was finally maybe. The morning after hits like a hangover nobody asked for. Sun barely up in Atlanta and the blogs are already screaming headlines. Kirk Frost walks away from daughter, Jasmine's lies exposed on live TV. Marquise steps up as real dad, but is Jasmine ready to let go? Twitter is a war zone. Half the fans are ride or die for Rashida, calling her a queen for protecting Kirk's heart. The other half are dragging her for ruining a child's life on television. Hashtag splitting the timeline. Hashtag Team Rashida. Hashtag Team Jasmine. Hashtag protect the baby girl. Kirk hasn't posted anything. His Instagram is dark. Last pic still him and the little girl at a pumpkin patch months ago. Caption, Daddy's princess forever. Comments turned off. Smart move. But the DM requests are flooding in. Prayers, hate, offers from lawyers, even a few from paternity testing companies wanting to sponsor his comeback. Rashida wakes up to over 100 missed calls. Most from production begging her to do follow-up confessionals. She ignores them all, makes coffee, sits on her balcony overlooking the city, and scrolls through the chaos. Her phone buzzes again. It's Kirk. Finally. She answers on the first ring. Hey, hey, his voice sounds like he hasn't slept. Rough. Hollow. You good? Nah, not even close. But I'm alive. Silence stretches for almost 10 seconds. I saw the comments. People saying I should have handled it different. Quieter. Maybe they right. Rashida sips her coffee slow. You think I enjoyed dropping that bomb? I didn't, but if I'd waited any longer Jasmine was gonna keep milking the lie. You would have proposed again, married her, built a whole life on quicksand. I couldn't watch that. Kirk exhales hard. I keep replaying it, the delivery room, holding her for the first time. Feeling like, finally something good came out of all my mess. And it was fake. Every feeling fake, not fake. You loved her real. That part was real. Don't let Jasmine take that from you too. Marquise texted me last night. Said he wants to meet. Today. Coffee shop downtown. No cameras. Just us. Rashida's eyebrows lift. You going? Yeah, I need to see his eyes. Need to know if he's for real about stepping up or if this is just another nigga trying to get on TV. Be careful. Emotions high. Don't let it turn into something stupid. I ain't fighting nobody. I need closure. And I need to make sure that little girl gone, be straight. Even if it ain't with me, they talk a few more minutes, soft. Real, like old friends who've survived too much together. When they hang up, Rashida stares at her phone a long time, then opens that locked folder again. The video thumbnail stares back at her. Jasmine and Marquise, the damning words. If it's yours, we'll figure it out. But if it's his, we keep it moving like nothing happened. She hovers her thumb over send. Hesitates, locks it again. Not yet. Cut to the coffee shop. Mid-morning, quiet corner booth. Kirk arrives first, black hoodie, ball cap low, sunglasses even though it's cloudy. He orders black coffee, sits facing the door. When Marquise walks in, the air shifts. Both men stand, awkward half hug that neither fully commits to. They sit. Marquise speaks first. Man, I don't even know where to start. I'm sorry. For real. Kirk stares at his cup. You sorry for sleeping with my girl? Or sorry you let me raise your kid for 2 years without saying shit? Marquise winces. Both, but mostly the second one. I tried once. Like I said, you shut it down. After that, Jasmine made it clear she'd destroy me if I pushed. Said she'd tell everybody I was obsessed. That I was threatening her. I didn't want my name dragged. Didn't want my daughter caught in that. Kirk's jaw clenches. So you chose your reputation over her knowing who her real dad was? I sent money. Every month. Cash app. No paper trail. Just so she had what she needed. I watched from afar. Pics Jasmine would send when she was feeling guilty. I knew her first steps. Her first words. I just couldn't be there. Kirk looks up now. Eyes hard. I taught her to walk. Held her when she cried at night. Read her books. Took her to the doctor when she had that ear infection. I was there. Every day. And you let me. Marquise nods slow. I know. And I hate myself for it. But I'm here now. I filed for paternity rights yesterday. Lawyer says with the DNA it's open and shut. I want joint custody. I want her to know me. But I ain't trying to erase you. Kirk laughs, short. Bitter. Erase me? Bruh, you already did. The second Jasmine put my name on that paper you erased me without even trying. Marquise leans forward. She still calls you Dada. Jasmine told me. Even after all this, she asks for you. If you want to stay in her life, I'm not gonna block that. Uncle Kirk, big homie, whatever you comfortable with. She loves you. That don't disappear because blood says different. Kirk's eyes glisten. He blinks it back hard. I want that. But I can't. I can't look at her right now without feeling like my heart got ripped out. Every time I think about her smile I remember it was never mine to keep. Marquise reaches in his pocket. Pulls out a small envelope. Slides it across the table. Open it when you're ready. It's a letter. From me to you. Explaining everything. Timelines. Texts. Proof I wasn't just sitting back chilling. And my number. If you ever want updates. Pictures. School stuff. Whatever. It's yours. Kirk doesn't touch the envelope. Just stares at it. I appreciate it. But right now, I need space. A lot of it. Marquise nods. Take all the time you need. I ain't rushing nothing. They sit in silence a minute. Two men who never wanted to be in this position but here they are. Kirk finally stands. Tell her Dada loves her. Always will. Even if I gotta love her from far. Marquise stands too. I will. Every day. They dap, real this time. Solid. Respectful. Then Kirk walks out into the daylight, envelope in his hand, heart still heavy but maybe just a fraction lighter. Back at Jasmine's place it's a different scene. She hasn't slept, eyes puffy, hair wild. Her mom is there cooking breakfast she won't eat. Lawyers on speakerphone, custody talk, restraining orders, the works. Jasmine paces. They can't take her from me. She's mine. I carried her. I birthed her. Nobody gets to decide who raises her. Lawyer's voice calm. With the DNA results public and Marquise filing, courts will likely grant him visitation at minimum. Possibly joint. You lied on official documents. That's perjury territory if Kirk pushes it. Jasmine stops cold. Kirk won't push it. He loves her too much to drag her through court. Mom turns from the stove. Baby, after last night? That man might not have anything left to give. You broke him. Jasmine's phone buzzes. It's a text from Rashida. Just one line. You got one chance to come clean on your own. Before I drop the video. 24 hours. Jasmine's hand shakes. She knows exactly what video. The one from the hotel bar. The one that proves premeditation. That she planned to pass the baby off no matter what. She types back fast. Don't do this. Please. For her sake. Rashida's reply instant. I'm doing this for her sake. She deserves parents who don't build her life on lies. Clock ticking. Jasmine drops the phone. Sinks to the floor. Mom rushes over but Jasmine waves her away. I messed up, Mama. I messed up so bad, and for the first time since the reunion, she doesn't cry out of anger or fear. She cries out of regret. Deep, bone-level regret. But regret won't stop what's coming. Because Rashida Frost doesn't bluff. And when that video hits, Jasmine's whole world burns to the ground. The fallout is just getting started. Fans picking sides harder. Sponsors dropping. Cast members choosing teams. And one little girl in the middle of it all, still too young to understand why daddy isn't coming home tonight. But tomorrow? Tomorrow Rashida makes good on her promise, and nothing will ever be the same.